All right, here we go. We are back to talk some more and build some more hype up around Bloomin' Rage, Lost Records, Bloomin' Rage. I said it backwards, but I'm saying it the right way this time. Anyway, so yeah, we're I think like a week away from the game actually dropping now. And so just trying to keep that steamroll of attention and fame kind of building up to it. And I really wanted to just kind of sit down and talk about gameplay and the nitty gritty of the story and kind of things of that nature. We haven't really seen a whole lot of pre-release content for this game. There's not been a whole bunch of stuff revealed. There's a couple of people who got to play it early and got to see a decent amount of stuff from that. But for the most part, they've been staying pretty quiet on the front of this game, keeping it pretty close to chest and not oversharing, which I think is a good thing because a lot of the marketing on the Life is Strange games tend to overshare when they're advertising for the games.
My friend Safi is dead.
In that they give away key plot points that could be really interesting and good twists if they weren't given away in the pre-launch material that completely ruins the surprise.
Gabe is dead.
So I didn't see any of the release material for Life is Strange 1 or 2. I didn't come across the series until after the second one had all completely released and was not super old, but a couple years old. And that was the first one that I found. I think I found it in 2019, and Life is Strange 2 ended in 2018. So at any rate, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't know that this kid was going to have superpowers. I didn't know that the dad was going to get shot and killed. I didn't know a great many things about the game. And I think that really helped solidify the experience. It made it so much better of a game. And I can remember playing it because I played the second one by myself, then I did a run through with my brother, and I did a run through with my mom, and I recently did a run through with both of them. And I can remember playing it with my mom in particular, and she was really blown away when they revealed that Daniel had powers. And she's like, I thought something was off about this kid, but I couldn't really tell what. And I don't know that I would have thought superpowers was where we were going with that, but it worked really well and it did really good things. And so that element of surprise is important to keep in your back pocket, especially when considering marketing material, because I didn't, until after the fact, I looked up trailers for Life is Strange 2 for whatever reason. I don't remember what or why or when, but it was after I'd played the game. And I realized that they reveal the father's death in the trailer material.
It was all my fault. Step back! Dad came out to help. Oh no. Somebody called the cops. Now!
And I was like, guys, that really kind of undercuts the surprise of the game. And then I bought the physical edition of Life is Strange 2, and the box for the physical edition of Life is Strange 2 talks about Daniel having telekinetic powers. And again, I was like, guys, you can't put that on the box. If I just bought this and maybe, I don't know, this is a game that you would find in a used game store. I don't see physical copies of Life is Strange 1 or 2 or any of them floating around in the wild very often. But if you were trying to find a good story game to play, you pick it up and it's oh, this kid's got powers, let's go! And it ruins one of your biggest twists. And Deck 9 did the very same thing with both of their Life is Strange titles.
My friend Safi is dead. Gabe is dead.
They gave away Gabe's death in the trailer material, which I get, Gabe's death in multiple ways is the inciting incident. It's hard to advertise what you're doing in this game without telling them that you're investigating your brother's murder, but at the same time, there's got to be a more clever way to go about that, because I was immediately not going to get attached to Gabe. Like, he could have been an interesting character that I could have gotten attached to had I not known he was going to die very early on in the game, and that my gameplay was going to actually focus on investigating his murder and not actually getting to know him or spend any time with him. And so because of that, again, they revealed way too much in the reveal trailer and just completely exposed themselves and gave away a twist. And then they did the same thing with Double Exposure, which honestly, thank goodness they did it in Double Exposure, because if they didn't reveal the whole "my best friend Safi is dead" thing,
My friend Safi is dead.
I probably would have played the game. That's saying a lot because I really like the franchise, but I don't, I knew right off the bat when they revealed that and they're like, "My friend Safi is dead." And I was like, yeah, this sounds a lot like their attempt to just retell Life is Strange 1, which is even worse because it's like Max Caulfield came back and did the exact same thing again, and it's just like, what? You guys are way off point with this one. And again, I've got so many videos dedicated to the trash that is Double Exposure, and I don't want to sit and make a video about that. But bringing us back in here, talking about the promotional material for Bloom Rage, Lost Records Bloom Rage, and really talking about how I think that they've done a pretty good job of creating interest without over-explaining things, without over-showing things, without spoiling major plot events. Because even though I'm mildly interested to see what's going to happen to these characters, what's going to happen in this game, I realistically have little to no idea what's going to happen in this game, what's going to happen to these characters. Like, why are they out doing stuff? I think this is like the main character, I think her name is Swan, and it's like her last summer in this like place that she lives, and it's a whole thing. But again, they haven't really said a lot, which, like I said, is a great thing for them. If they can create interest without spoiling major plot points, that's good. And so I think their marketing has been pretty on point in that regards. From what little marketing I've seen, it does give off a lot of vibes of like Stephen King's It, in that you have this group of friends who do something as kids, who knows what kind of thing it is. It gives off this kind of supernatural feel to it when you get like the shot of them standing above the pit and there's like glowy radiance on them. And so like I've said this in my other video, I hope that the world maybe is supernatural in this game, but I hope none of the characters necessarily are. I feel like they'll be like running way too close to the Life is Strange formula if they're giving their characters superpowers. I want just regular people in maybe extraordinary circumstances, kind of like what they did with It. Like, none of the characters in the movie It had any superpowers, but they were going up against this omnipotent being, and they're just a bunch of kids or whatever. And so then obviously you have another timeline. So tape A, as they've advertised it, is going to be entirely them in the past, 1995. And then tape B is going to be like 27 some odd years later, and it's going to be them now, and they have to come together and do something because of some promise that they made to some person or to themselves or whatever. And that is like beat for beat Stephen King's It. And that's not to knock at the story, because every story has inspiration from somewhere. The stories that I write, my third book was directly inspired by Life is Strange 2. My first book was inspired by Riverdale. My third book, or no, not my third, I already said that one. My second book was inspired by Kingdom Hearts. My fifth book was inspired by this weird foreign horror movie that I had seen. And my sixth and most recent book was inspired by like this character dynamic on this really cheesy 90s TV show called 15. But as a writer myself and a creator I can acknowledge that like everything comes from something, and it's especially in this day and age impossible to come up with something that's completely original. Like people are gonna be able to see your content and compare it to other content, and that really bothered me personally at first, because I wanted to, as a rookie creator, create something that was completely fresh and uncomparable to other things. But it helped me to realize that like people do make comparisons, and they do this because it's easier for them to gravitate towards your work if they can affiliate it with something that they already know and they already like. And so that association isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing in that they're trying to associate it with something they know and something they like and be like, huh, maybe I'll like this because it's like that. And Brandon Sanderson in particular, he has a teaching series on YouTube that I follow, and he touched base on that, and that really helped me get over that. But that's not to say that like I didn't see this and immediately think like, oh, it's Stephen King's It, because I did. But we'll see what DontNod does with Stephen King's It. It could be really interesting. It could be really far-fetched. It could be really not great at all. I'm not thinking that it'll be bad per se, because I have a lot of faith in DontNod as a game developer, as a storyteller, as a creator, that I don't think it's going to be just this terrible excuse for a game. It may not be as radically awesome as I thought it was going to be. And I don't even know that I think it's going to be radically awesome. I think it's just going to be that much better than Double Exposure, which isn't a big target to hit. Double Exposure, I personally rated it a 4.5 out of 10. So I think very low of that game. And so it's going to be very hard for Bloom and Rage to not be better than that, because it would have to be absolutely atrocious, which I just cannot fathom that that DontNod would make something that atrocious. But with that being said, I'm not like, I didn't see the trailers for Bloom and Rage and immediately be like, this is gonna be my game. Like, I knew I was gonna play it. I play all of DontNod stuff. I like story-based games, and there's hardly any of them out right now. So I knew I was gonna play it. I'm coming at it kind of lukewarm medium. I'm just like, is this interesting enough? It's got to be better than Double Exposure. Let's see what it's got. And I'm hoping that I'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm not expecting to be blown away, and I'm not expecting to be like disappointed either. So we'll see what it gives with this whole storyline. I'm thinking like the girls, they go out into some like foresty area, and there's like a forest fire and some weird glowy cave thing. So clearly they interact and start something that's much larger than what they'd planned to do. And then they have to like go back and maybe repent for what they've done, or face something again. I don't know. We have too little to go on for me to make like a solid prediction. And like, obviously I know the main story beats they're going to hit, but like, what are they going to do? Are they going to come to the forest? It keeps showing them like smoking. Maybe they start a forest fire. This is like the weakest prediction I've ever come up with. I'm like 30% sure this is what happens, but I wanted to give you all a prediction of some sorts. And so maybe they go do a party and they start a forest fire and it turns into a whole big thing. And for whatever reason, 27 years later, they have to go back to the site of that original incident and dig up some hard truths about their past or whatever. I don't know.
You dead?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no. Not dead.
Another thing, though, with what little gameplay they have shown that I do really like is the conversation aspect of it. It seems like, and I hope this is the case, but it seems like there's multiple scenes where you're in a scene with all four of the girls, and there's kind of multiple conversations going on at the same time, and you as the player can be like, okay, I'm going to engage in this conversation and then respond to this lady over here and start a conversation with her over here and just keep bouncing between them. And that's kind of a really cool concept, because I've not seen a story-based game have like fluid conversations in the midst of gameplay. Like, your conversations almost always stop the game. You walk up to talk to person A, and you're like, hello, person A, and person A is like, I'm looking for my beef jerky. And then you're like, well, and then they give you your options. You'll be like, your beef jerky's in the fridge. I ate your beef jerky. Or, what's beef jerky? And then you say one of those things, and they respond, and then it's just really robotic kind of back and forth. It's not bad. It's one of those like tropes of the story-based genre that you just kind of have to get over and deal with because you know kind of what you're walking into. But the conversations in this game feel a lot more fluid and natural, where you're just kind of walking around and you're talking to that person and you're walking around and you're talking to this person. The people who do the oh shoot, what is the name of that game? Like the Dark Pictures people. The people who do the Dark Pictures anthology try this quite a bit with having conversations, and I guess they kind of do it in Life is Strange 2 sometimes as well, where you're having conversations and they'll let you just like quickly respond to what someone's saying because it's more of just an offhand conversation and not really like a major decision making point. Another thing that they have done that is shots fired against double exposure and points in their favor is that not all of their dialogue options have two options. Like, they've already showcased that they have some options that's got 3, some that's got 2. I wonder if there's going to be some 4s in there. But like literally every dialogue choice, every choice in double exposure was a 2-part choice. And it was like, do this or do that, say this or say that. And none of them meant anything.
Grab a mug, Max.
And that's another thing that DontNod keeps saying in their game is like, your choices matter, your choices matter, your choices matter. So you better really hope that they put their money where their mouth is and make a game where your choices matter, because that's the overall like theme of a story-based game. These are supposed to be more or less like choose your own adventure games, and there was no choice or adventure in Life is Strange Double Exposure. It was all just like, here's some stuff, you say some stuff, and basically all the same stuff happens, and I hope you liked that. And it's like, no, I didn't like that at all. There's not even like 2 endings in this game. It's a linear game. Like, I should have just read a book at this point. And so hopefully, and like I said, I know DontNod knows the genre better than that, than to just give us a completely linear story. I don't know that they've ever done that before. I don't remember how, and I talked about this on the last video, I don't remember very much about Twin Mirror, but I feel like Twin Mirror even had at least 2 endings. And so it's just a matter of waiting for the kings and the proper owners of this genre to come back and give us something that's actually worth experience, giving us something that's worth playing, and something to get excited about again. And so I'm pretty excited about it. Like I said, I can't wait for the conversations that they have set up, and I can't wait for the for like the play, how it's going to play out, because it's going to be released as 2 different tapes. So you get tape 1 in February, tape 2 in April. And so I think that'll help it out a lot and help build some momentum and build some excitement for it. And we'll just see what kind of game they have in store for us. And like I said, this could be a big thing where DontNod finally gets their steam back as being this powerful force in the story-based game world, or not world, but scene, I guess, where they're relevant again, because they haven't really been for a while. So thanks for stopping by and listening to my thoughts and theories and predictions about Bloom and Rage. We're like a week away from it coming out. Per the usual, I write my own books. I've got an animation called Compression Man here on YouTube. I've got audiobooks on this channel. If you would be so kind as to give them the time of day, I would be delighted to hear what you got to say. And until the next time we meet, and I will probably be playing Bloom and Rage when that happens, you all have a wonderful day.